What's up everybody, Matt Maran here for another weekly update. So there's lots of exciting news to go over here this week, lots of cool enthusiast stories this week to cover. But before I get into all those, I first want to mention I will be doing another live stream here. This time I'll be doing it on Saturday at noon Eastern time, because I know Sunday is Mother's Day here in the US, and so I don't want to interfere with anyone's Mother's Day plans. So we'll do the live stream on Saturday instead. Hopefully you all can join and have a great time with us. We always have a great time talking cars and answering all your questions, so join if you can. But anyway, getting into the news here this week. First off, Lexus has two really important debuts, and they've sandwiched them in the same week for some reason. But anyway, so the first big news here is that the Lexus TX has been officially confirmed and teased here, which is a long-awaited model, especially for Lexus dealers. They've been begging for a large three-row crossover from Lexus that isn't a truck-based off-roady thing that's 10 years old. And so now they're finally going to have the TX here, which it's going to be based on the Grand Highlander almost certainly. And so the teaser image here shows off the back half of the vehicle here, which features a floating roof design you can see. It'll likely get the same powertrains as the Grand Highlander, but all Lexus is saying here so far is that something big is coming, and says it's coming soon. And that's all they're going with for now. So we'll have to wait and see. Hopefully we don't have too long to wait. But the other big Lexus announcement this week as well that is also all new is the 2024 Lexus GX, which is huge. We haven't heard anything about a new GX. There haven't really been any rumors that I've heard about or anything. And now all of a sudden it's like, boom, here it is. It's going to be coming soon again. That's all they've said, is coming soon again. No reveal dates for either of these. But we got two close-up shots here of this one so far. And the front shot reveals styling similar to the larger LX, but with more aggressive hood lines there, it seems, and some very flared fenders too, which suggests this thing's going to look pretty awesome. The back shot doesn't really reveal anything other than the existence of a full-width light bar, which is no surprise these days. And it's almost certain that this new GX will ditch the V8 and swap in the twin-turbo V6 like all the other large truck-based SUVs that Toyota and Lexus have now. So it'll probably get some of those other same improvements as well. We'll have to wait and see, what all it gets. It could just even get the same exact thing as the LX powertrain-wise. We'll just have to wait and see. But unfortunately, we don't have any kind of real date for that one. But with that one especially, the GX has been around for 14 years in its current generation. So on one hand, GX owners, I would assume, are very patient people that don't mind a very outdated thing and aren't in any kind of hurry to chase the newest trend. But at the same rate, I'm sure they are also, many of them are probably ready, so ready for a new GX. So I wish I had a reveal date, but nothing to report here so far. So hopefully that isn't, they don't keep the GX fans waiting too long on that one. But great to see that, though, just out of the blue. Got a new GX coming. Awesome, awesome stuff. Some other exciting news, not official news, but potentially exciting news here, is that a South Korean publication called Money Today is claiming that Hyundai has approved of the N Vision 74 for production, and that a potential production version is actually going to be debuting for Pony Day on May 27th. So that Vision pays homage to the Pony concept, and that whole day, apparently they have a whole thing about it, as that was kind of like the start of Hyundai and all that. So apparently at Hyundai's design studio in Seoul, that is where they're going to reveal this here on May 27th. They don't cite their source though with this publication, and I've heard mixed stuff that this isn't actually happening. The good news is we only have a few weeks to wait here until we find out for sure whether or not this actually does come out or not, and if the rumor is true or not. But it's not out of the realm of possibility, especially if they ditch the hydrogen thing and they're just going with the eGMP platform from the other Hyundai stuff like the Ioniq 5. If you just take that, pop it into a coupe body, if it's something they were kind of planning all along anyway, I could see it being ready, for a production version to at least show off here, and maybe not arrive till next year or something. But, I think it's actually possible, not too far-fetched of a rumor, but, we'll have to wait and see how it would transform for a production version as well. But anyway, fingers crossed, if we do actually get something, that would be awesome. And one retro-futuristic vehicle that we are going to actually be getting, or at least some parts of the world will be getting, and has been confirmed for production here, and just debuted this week, is the Alpine A290 beta concept. And while it's still labeled a concept and the interior is pretty unrealistic, Alpine confirmed that the exterior design looks like the production model, and that it'll begin production next year. It'll be based on the Renault 5 that's also retro and coming next year. And as for this Alpine version, they say it'll be be dual motors, but still front-wheel drive, and that it'll have torque vectoring, a multi-link rear suspension, and several different drive modes. Unfortunately, though, even though Alpine is considering selling cars here in the US, sometime this decade has been kind of the talk here. This one will be a European-only offering, and if Alpine does manage to ever come to the States, they're planning on starting off with a bunch of crossovers. What a surprise. So, yeah, this is only for Europe, but for those of you in Europe that are lucky enough to get a chance to own one of these things, that is going to be a very exciting and very fun little thing. I'm so glad they're offering that, even if we don't get it here in the States. Another hot hatch that's coming and potentially could actually come to the States here is a new version of the Golf R called the 333, alluding to 333 metric horsepower most likely, or about 328 horsepower here. It's be about 10 to 13 more than the current Golf R. Other changes are a Krapovich exhaust, black wheels, and an exclusive yellow color. Autocar also claims the top speed limiter will rise from 155 miles per hour to 166 miles per hour. And there's no info on whether or not this one will come to the US, but the 20-year special edition is, so that means there's actually hope that this could actually come to the States as well. But Volkswagen in the past has liked to keep some of that special edition stuff out of the States too, so it could go either way, really. We'll have to wait and see. But the full reveal is happening on May 31st, so we'll find out more then, so we don't have too much longer to wait for that one either. In some other Volkswagen Group news, Porsche has debuted the hardcore RS version of the 718 Spyder for the 2024 model year. It gets most of the same upgrades as the Cayman GT4 RS, meaning the 4-liter Boxer 6 engine that does 493 horsepower and 331 pound-feet of torque, along with a 3.2 second 0 to 60 time and a top speed of 191 miles per hour. Like the Cayman, it's only available with the 7-speed PDK transmission, and it gets the same fully adjustable suspension setup as the Cayman, but thankfully Porsche says it's been tuned in the Boxer to be a more relaxed, characteristically convertible style setup, which will be a welcome change based on the comments I've at least heard from other journalists about the ride in the Cayman being a little too stiff. It also gets most of the Cayman version styling and aero enhancements aside from the big rear wing, which is swapped for a more subtle ducktail spoiler. The cockpit is also more race ready with its setup from the RS Cayman, with the carbon bucket seats available with the optional Visage package, which drops extra weight from the car too, thanks to some carbon fiber pieces and forged magnesium wheels. The regular RS is 59 pounds lighter than a regular Spyder already, though. And then get ready for the price here for this thing, though, because the RS version will start at $162,150, assuming you can even get one at MSRP, which I'm sure no one's going to be able to get one for MSRP. I don't even know why they even bother pricing these vehicles anymore. They might as well just send them to dealers and be like, you decide. But anyway, so it's easily going to crest 200 grand or more, I'm sure, for one of these with a few options on them. And it just seems crazy considering a regular Spyder is only $103,000. And yes, that is before options, and those can get, into the 120s and 130s, I guess. But still, you're getting 79 more horsepower, and it is more extreme, yes. But, I guess it's a collector's item, so it's not even worth debating the value of it. But it's just, kind of ridiculous that you're paying basically 50% more for 79 more horsepower. I would just save some money and just get a GTS 4.0, get the easier power folding top in that one, still have same great sound, same great engine aside from, a few tweaks, and, just still have a ton of fun, for way less money. But anyway, great to see that nonetheless. I'm sure it'll be awesome for those who can afford it. Tesla this week has announced that their promised track package they talked about last year for the Model S Plaid is finally going to be available here starting in June, and it's going to be $20,000, and for that price it'll add on carbon ceramic brakes that are 16.1-inch rotors in the front and have 6-piston forged front calipers and 4-piston forged rear calipers, along with track-ready brake fluid and new 20-inch forged aluminum wheels running Goodyear Eagle F1 Supercar 3R tires that are 285 wide in the front, 305 wide in the rear. It also unlocks the car's 200 mile per hour top speed once again, which I guess they previously, I think, put out there, but then rolled it back because the brakes could not handle slowing down from 200 miles per hour. And so now they can, so now you can get that 200 mile per hour top speed again. The package can also be retrofitted to 2021 and newer Model S Plaids in addition to being ordered on a new car, which is kind of nice that they allow you to upgrade the old one too. So great to see that. Volkswagen has also teased their their high-performance electric sedan here, the ID.7 GTX. And so it'll debut at the Munich Auto Show here in September before arriving around the end of 2023 in Europe. Here in the US, we will not get the GTX branding, so we won't get the sportier styling stuff inside and out, just like the other GTX models that we strangely don't get here in the States for some reason. But a Volkswagen spokesperson did tell Autoblog that we won't get the GTS trim pieces inside now, but we will get the powertrain. And so I guess, North America at least will be getting whatever that's going to get for the powertrain on that thing. So stay tuned for that, because that'll be, whatever it is, it's going to be a hot setup, even if it isn't have the sportier look of the GTX. Because, I mean, right now, the regular ID.7 already comes out, pretty impressive with the rear-wheel drive version. That single rear motor doing 282 horsepower and 402 pound-feet of torque already. Then you add another motor up front, even if it's a weak one. I mean, you got to be looking at over 500 pound-feet of torque, I'm guessing. So it's going to be a punchy little thing, a lot faster than an all-wheel drive ID.4 at least. So yeah, should be pretty promising, and we'll get more info here in September, maybe even before then, but interesting to hear that. And a little bit of sad news here this week. Maserati has announced officially that they'll be ending production of their V8 engines this year, which is a lot sooner than maybe some people were expecting, because, they're saying they're going to go all electric by 2030. And, so we figured, okay, we had 7 more years. And, they have the V8 and the Quattroporte, the Levante, and the Ghibli. But apparently now they are ending production this year, and they say inventory will last sometime into 2024, but that's it. And to send it off, the Ghibli and Levante will get Ultima versions. They'll debut at the Goodwood Festival of Speed in July, and we don't have any details yet on those versions, so I'll save my farewell drink for that official announcement about those vehicles. But still really sad to see it go. I mean, obviously the twin-turbo V8s in the Maseratis didn't sound quite as good, or nearly as good, I'll say, as the naturally aspirated V8s in those older Maseratis. But still really sad to see another V8 go, and go early. I guess maybe they're trying to get their CAFE standards and their, fleet averages up, possibly. I'm not sure why, but they're going to have all the electric variants coming in. Maybe they just think no one's going to want the V8, but I think they'll definitely be wrong about that one. People would still gladly go for the V8 over the EV one, even if it's slower, I think. Yeah, they're deciding to pull the plug on the V8 early for, maybe it's a supplier thing too. Who knows? Anyway, a little bit of a surprise there, and a bummer for sure, but all the electric stuff. And also they have the new, even that twin-turbo V6 you're seeing in the new Gran Turismo and stuff has more power than that twin-turbo V8. So, I guess it's just one of those things, if they're not going to invest the money to bump up that V8, then, it's just going to go by the wayside, and the new stuff's going to come and replace it. At least they do have some other good gas powertrains in the pipeline too. But McLaren does have some good news for V8 enthusiasts here this week, because they announced a renewed partnership with their current engine builder, Ricardo, to build a new high-performance hybrid V8 powertrain that will form an integral part of McLaren's next-generation product lineup, delivering best-in-class performance and thrilling driver engagement. And they added that this partnership extends into the next decade, meaning there'll be V8-powered McLarens into the 2030s, which I actually thought would be the opposite. I thought maybe Maserati would cling on to them until the very end and McLaren wouldn't, but it turns out it's the opposite. So McLaren's sticking with this twin-turbo V8 setup, with Ferrari going with the twin-turbo V6, and some others are doing some other things. Obviously, McLaren's going to, do some other stuff, like the Artura has a V6 already. So there's not only going to be V8s with McLaren, but they are going to continue on with some kind of a V8 into the 2030s, which is very impressive, and great to hear that. For some more exciting British sports car news here, Aston Martin CEO this past week announced that 8 new front-engine sports cars will launch in just the next 24 months. He says it's been like watching paint dry, basically, because they've been working really hard in the background for the past 3 years on all this stuff, but there hasn't been anything new from a public view standpoint until, I guess really soon here. And so he announced this at the Financial Times Future of the Car Summit, and he said that these next-generation cars will bring in new technology, have performance from our F1 team integrated into the business, and continue the great luxury of cars today. 3 of the 8 will be replacements for the DB11, Vantage, and DBS, along with likely a convertible version of each, so that bumps the number up to 6, because the variants do count. So 6 out of the 8 are just replacements of what we currently have. And the first one to arrive will most likely be the DB12, is the rumored name for the DB11 successor, which is pretty logical, and that there's been talk about that showing up sometime this month. We'll see if that's the case. Goodwood Festival of Speed time in July could also be a likely candidate as well. We'll have to see. He also hinted, though, that we've created a new sector above GT, a true high level of luxury with a high level of performance. Something new. But that's not all. He also talked a little bit about the first EV set to debut in 2025 from Aston Martin and said more will be revealed on June 27th. But for now, though, he said software components have been decided and it will be mostly done in-house. We've hired several hundred people and brought lots of competency in-house. It still has to be an Aston Martin experience with EV. So, sounds promising so far, and we'll see how that plays out for them as well. But lastly, as far as the mid-engine Aston Martins are concerned, those have been kind of on the back burner, it seems. He did say they've already delivered over 100 Valkyries, and the Valhalla will be next. But there was no mention of the Vanquish supercar, which also was another one that we saw, some concept images of and stuff. So, not sure what's happening with the Vanquish, but great to see Valhalla's still, in the lineup there and coming down the road. And, just awesome to see that, between those 8 and then also this other thing, with the electric thing and then the supercars, we're talking, 10 or 11 cars here coming in the next few years from Aston Martin. So very exciting to see all that. And back to another teaser here. Volvo has put out a teaser video for the new EX30 that'll debut on June 7th. And they say they have a small announcement because it's a small vehicle. But despite its small size, Volvo confirmed to Autoblog that it will be sold in the US, thankfully. We don't know much else aside from just what we can see here in the teaser video. But we do know it'll be electric only, and we'll find out more in a few weeks here. So we'll have to wait and see. Yeah, going to be great to see something else. I think they're kind of, doing the two ends of the spectrum. They have the EX90, which is going to be the biggest thing. EX30 will be the smallest thing, and then they'll fill in the rest later on, I'm sure. And last news story here is that, we all knew the Mercedes CLS was kind of on its way out. I've been talking about that in past weekly updates a couple of times now. And so that's part of the Mercedes, streamlining their lineup and finally recognizing they have a lot of kind of overlap and redundancies that probably don't need to exist. And so we didn't know exactly how soon the CLS would depart, but now we know, and it actually makes a lot of sense when you think about it. So this week, a Mercedes spokesperson confirmed to Autoblog that as part of our strategic product portfolio planning, we've decided to end the life cycle of the CLS on August 31st, 2023, with a changeover of the E-Class to the 214 model series. So basically, it's just as simple as the fact that the CLS is built on the E-Class platform. The E-Class platform, I guess, is done with production in the end of August for the old E-Class, and they're not doing a new CLS on the new E-Class platform, so they're not going to keep the old E-Class platform around just for the CLS, which hardly sells at all anyway. So it's going away at the same time as the old E-Class. And, it's sad to see the CLS go away a little bit, because I remember when the first CLS was announced and came out and debuted, 20 years ago now or whatever. It was really impressive and wild and just really made an impact. And it was a really bold statement from Mercedes at the time, who were much more bland and conservative back then. And, it was just really cool. And then over the years, they really watered the CLS down until you got what you see today, which, is a slightly sportier E-Class, essentially. It's just kind of a bummer. It kind of lost its edge, I think, in a lot of ways. And, so anyway, it doesn't have much appeal anymore. All the other Mercedes products are really great, so CLS doesn't need to exist anymore. And it's going into the history books. So there you go. If you want to grab one, you got to place an order here, I'm guessing, sometime soon. But interesting to see that. And lastly, I want to thank all of you that are members of the Maran Motoring Club. So we did have a couple new members join this week. 10 total members rejoined thanks to the membership gifts that were given out here by the Trucking Car Guy during the live stream. And thank you so much, Trucking Car Guy, for continuing to gift those memberships. It's very generous of you. And so while most of the people that grabbed them were people who were rejoining, who were members in the past, I did also want to welcome 3 new members that joined as part of that gifting spree there as well. So I want to give a big welcome here to Tesla Boy Gaming, Rishi Rana, and Ted Amore. So I hope you're all enjoying the perks so far. I'm going to be posting some more behind the scenes stuff, I think, here coming up in the next week or so too. So stay tuned for that. And also be sure to join in the live stream if you can. That's one of the big perks, is you get priority answering there in that live stream if you're a member. So join on Saturday for that if you can. I'm looking forward to chatting with all of you who can join. But anyway, thank you all very much for watching. Let me know all your thoughts on all this stuff in the comments below. Please also leave a like, comment, and subscribe to keep these videos coming. I'll see you guys in the next one. Happy Mother's Day to all the moms out there as well. Take care.